A GP for Me was a province-wide initiative of the Ministry of Health and the Doctors of BC aimed at building stronger relationships between family doctors and patients that would ultimately improve the capacity of our primary care system.
Like most of our work with partners, the GP for Me initiative has really allowed us to develop some very strong relationships and align our work with that of other organizations to the point that now that the project has finished in its formal stages, the projects that came out of a GP for Me will now be self-sustaining through those other organizations.
Looking back to September 2013 when I was hired to be the project manager of this work in Nanaimo, I don't think I really understood how big this was going to be. And I don't think our physician members understood how big this was going to be. 2.5 years later, I think we have made some deep connections in the community, and we have supported some really innovative and amazing work in support of patients and physicians in Nanaimo.
The largest impact that I've seen from my evaluation of the GP for Me project are the collaborative partnerships that have formed as a result of the projects.
As part of our rollout for GP for Me, we had to find out what our membership wanted, which provided an opportunity for the division to align our priorities with those of our membership in a way that was really unique. The survey that was done from physicians, the face-to-face engagement that happened as we went around to the clinics to inform or sell the project, allowed the division to grow in ways that it would not have happened had the division not been working with the GP for Me.
Assessment and planning was our opportunity to do a bit of exploration. It happened over the course of a year, and we had the opportunity to really dig deep into what it is that our community and our physicians wanted, and it gave us an opportunity to gain a better understanding of the needs of the residents of Nanaimo.
I was involved in some of the planning of the survey, and I was very satisfied with the results of the amount of engagement that we had from local physicians, and then the data that came out of that.
We had 5 implementation projects under our GP for Me portfolio. The first was recruitment and retention. We hired a full-time recruitment and practice coverage coordinator in July of 2014. She was part of a local working group that oversaw all of the work. We successfully implemented a locum needs list and recruited 5 new family physicians to Nanaimo. We held both educational events for retiring physicians and new family medicine residents. Our ED was fortunate to hold a seat at both the regional and provincial recruitment and retention tables, and that helped us to connect our local group to the broader arena.
When I look at our recruitment and retention successes, and the fabulous job that Mila and the division team have done to smooth the way for new people coming to town, to encourage locum opportunities, to connect our community, that's been a huge benefit.
I think part of what the efficacy of the whole physician recruitment thing is that there were efforts made to introduce you to the community of Nanaimo too. So little things like when you arrived, there was, some chocolates, some local beer, a gift certificate to a local restaurant. Those days where you're being taken around to visit the different places, then you stop for coffee somewhere, and that's, it just gives you a little insight into, oh, that's a nice place, and this is somewhere I could live. Yeah, it was a good introduction to the community, and I think that's partly, deciding to live somewhere. The whole community setting is obviously a big part of that.
So our second area of focus was an adult mental youth project called TEAM. TEAM stands for Team Enhanced Access to Mental Health Services. It is a model that focuses on patients with mild to moderate mental health illnesses like depression and anxiety.
This team offers quite a few aspects of many of the other services that we have through mental health substance use in Nanaimo, specifically community services, because we have different skill sets and different elements of some of the other services. I think what maybe was the biggest difference for this service was the location, out of a family practice office. So where people access regular primary health care from their family physician, they could also access mental health services at the same time, in the same place, and probably our close involvement with the family practice physicians. So the clinicians would follow up with GPs face-to-face, on the phone.
Yeah, I think that first, the location, because there were a lot of people who didn't want to access mental health substance use services before because they were worried about people seeing them, people knowing I might run into my neighbor, and then they'll know that there's something wrong with me, right? So it's kind of just being in a busy doctor's office, they could run into whoever, and they're just in a busy doctor's office. They could be accessing anything.
The clients that are accessing the services at Team are often clients that have been living with mild to moderate mental health issues. And they're living well. They have normalized their mental health issues and are continuing to function in their day-to-day life, but they're not functioning optimally.
So the team is made up of a psychiatric nurse, a counselor, who's myself, and then a community support worker, as well as coordinators, and then the GPs from Nanaimo who refer in.
A number of my patients have graduated from the team and have told me how life-changing it's been. To be able to have a resource that offers this level of support for people with mental health issues is a huge benefit for our community.
I would like to say to the physicians, thank you for trusting us, because that's a big part, right? And a lot of the clients that we're getting are they don't know what to expect, right? They're not people who've accessed a lot of mental health substance use services. So it's a big degree of trust for them, and it shows the relationship they have with their GP, that they're willing to kind of go on faith that this might be beneficial to them. So I say thank you for including us in that.
Our third project was around the development of a school-based health center at the John Barsby High School. Research on school-based health centers that demonstrated the efficacy of pairing health with education.
I became involved with the center because I thought it was an interesting idea being presented. I've never heard of a wellness center being put in place in a school before.
I think a big success at the school level is that it's removing the stigma for accessing such services for kids, because we have medical practitioners and mental health right in the school, and students are using it. So I think by being located in the school and having that close of access, it's removing that stigma, and kids are building into their lifestyle the ability to seek out medical attention, medical help when they need it.
At the time, remember, there was child youth mental health was the focus of the Ministry of Health. It was a focus, from a provincial lens. It was the focus from Island Health. It was the focus of the Healthy Cities Working Group. It became our focus, so it was just perfect timing.
We normally have a nurse that's always there, but when the doctors come in, they can book appointments with students, and they also do drop-ins. I've seen doctors come back repeatedly because they like the way it's student involvement and they're actually getting right to the source of the problem instead of negotiating maybe around a parent or so. And also, they're building a support system before they get out into the world. They're starting really young to build these bridges that students really do need.
I've been quite surprised how quickly they accepted the John Barsby Wellness Center as a place to go. I thought it would take time for them to warm up and feel comfortable, but it actually happened very, very quickly.
Seeing the kids at Barsby that come in that say that they wouldn't come to see anybody else because of transportation issues or of a sense of difficulty accessing care in their family doctor's office. They might be afraid to run into their parents while they're there. Mom might find out that they want birth control pills. That's huge. That's a fabulous success. And engaging with those teenagers and working collaboratively with the nursing staff and the social workers at Barsby has been personally really rewarding.
Through access to a small envelope of funds from the funders, we were able to sustain 3 programs going forward. The recruitment and retention program will receive another year of funding, and we're also providing small contributions to the ongoing support of the John Barsby Wellness Centre as well as Vancouver Island University.
So our fourth area of focus was on supporting the Vancouver Island University in the development of a campus-based clinic. The university had a vision of a campus-based clinic for over a decade, and through a partnership between the University, Island Health and the division, a successful application was made to NP for BC and a nurse practitioner was hired.
The Health and Wellness Centre is a group of different people working together to look after the health and wellness of the students on campus. So I'm one of the members as the nurse practitioner looking after the medical needs. And we have 5 counselors and 5 academic advisors. And we also work with the disability services. So the students with disabilities or people who need paperwork or accommodations, I help with supporting those students as well.
So the work was laid by the university, and we were thrilled when they finally opened the campus clinic doors in the spring of 2015.
Since working here at VIU, it's been a really wonderful career change for me. The center has been a very lovely home to come to. We have a collegial atmosphere here. The collaboration with all the different disciplines has been wonderful.
I think during the course of a GP for me, we never quite realized the full potential of a partnership between the university and the division. Impact funding is giving us that little edge into the ability to continue to nurture that relationship and better support Diane as she cares for the population.
Having more integration with the Division of Family Practice could only be positive. I think it would only help promote relationships and help improve care for the citizens of Nanaimo and working together toward that common goal of having a healthy town.
Although our contribution to the work was very small, we feel honored to have been a partner.
Our 5th and final implementation project was an attachment mechanism, and this was the project that just never blossomed. Our advisory group had an idea that we could take the most vulnerable patients identified in the other strategies, and we could ask our local family physicians to squeeze 1 or 2 more patients into their practices. After months of looking at the nuts and bolts of this and discussing this with physicians, we realized that we were asking too much.
We had high hopes that it would help us attach patients who were looking for family doctor with a family doctor, but in the end it was something that our community was just not ready for.
We humbly accept the lessons learned and look forward to future work with our partners in a way that continues to strengthen those relationships and those bonds and continues to align our work with that of other organizations so that we can move forward together in Nanaimo, creating a system that is better for the physicians, for the patients, and for the healthcare system at large.
Because of the timeline of a GP for me and having to complete this work in 2.5 years, I don't think we've yet seen the full impact of the work that we began. I, for one, am excited to see where the projects go, what happens to the John Barsby Wellness Centre, how Vancouver Island University Health and Wellness Centre continues to impact our community. And I'm equally excited to see how these partnerships that we formed under a GP for me continue to develop in ways that supports both patients and physicians in our community.
The work has reinforced for me that regardless of who's at the table, you really need to spend the time to develop those relationships and come to a common understanding of how you want to work together. If you've got that down, anything will flow smooth from that point forward. Without that, you're going to run into some troubled waters.
If nothing else, I've learned in the work with the division, both on an individual membership basis, in the leadership in the division, and in our collaborative relationships, it is about the capital R relationship.
Looking to the future, I think a GP for me laid the foundation for discussions around the primary care home. A GP for me gave us data. It helped us to establish relationships with our partners, many of whom we'll continue to partner with. It reminded us to always use the collaborative lens, and it taught us that the road to success is not always linear, and it might end up looking very different than you could have anticipated. So we have to be patient, and we have to invest in the process.
It is really remarkable that we can point to physical programs within our community that a GP for me has helped to touch and mold. That we can identify individual patients within our practice who have accessed the team to improve their health care. That we can point to physicians in our community that have been brought to town because of the excellence of our recruitment and retention program. These are all programs that I believe are going to have ongoing impact.
It seemed like we had all the right people around the table, and we felt so well supported by the division throughout. Worked with some amazing people, and actually miss that connection now. It'll be kind of hard to transition. Island Health by ourselves, but yeah, no, it felt very good.
Everyone is together collaborating with a common goal, and it's feeling like something actually got accomplished.
Because of the relationships that we've developed through the GP for Me work, those relationships have now carried forward into other work that we're doing, and because we have that very solid foundation on which those relationships were built, it's made it much easier to move into other areas of work with these same partners with a different focus.
Over the last 2.5 years, I've had the immense honor of working alongside an amazing team. Mila Yeomans-Rutledge, who is our recruitment and retention coordinator, has created and nurtured a program that is now seen as a best practice right across the province. Catherine Henley, our project assistant, she worked quietly behind the scenes, keeping all of us organized, making sure that meetings were always made and that the work was always moving forward. Leslie Keenan provided strategic oversight and just immense experience with these kinds of healthcare programs. And Melissa Oberholster, she did all of this work on top of having a full-time family practice.
On behalf of the board of the division, I would like to thank the GPSC who funded the initiative, all of our partners, in particular Island Health, who played a major role in all of our work, to the members of our advisory committee, our working groups and the local action team, and finally to our members for believing in us.